Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Spotlight. I'm Ed Juenka. My guest this evening is Sophia Fay, coordinator of the BVI Commonwealth Games Association, and Mr. Ephraim Penn. He's the president of the BVI Olympic Committee and coordinator as well of the BVI Commonwealth Games Association. We'll be talking about the activities surrounding the Queen's baton scheduled to arrive in the territory in advance of the Commonwealth Games, why we should participate in those activities. We'll also talk about the BVI athletes that will be competing in the Commonwealth Games. So make sure you stay tuned to Spotlight. But of course, before we get into all of that good stuff, Peter Gay with the top stories making the news this week.
Hi, and Caribbean Regional Testing Day will be held on June 29. And of course, residents are being urged to turn out in their numbers to get themselves tested for HIV and other STIs. And this is being done this year under the theme, are you positive, you are negative? And these activities are significant because the Caribbean continues to rank second behind Sub-Saharan Africa as the region in the world with the second highest number of HIV cases. This is also significant for the BVI because the Ministry of Health has confirmed 2 new cases of HIV in young people in the territory. Here is Chief Nursing Officer Jacinth Hannibal in an interview with GIS on those cases.
Last year we had about 4 cases. This year so far, we're only halfway into the year. We've had 2 cases early into the year. That doesn't really say it's going down or it's going up, just that the year is not completed yet. Those 2 cases that we've had are more about young persons. So we're looking this year to concentrate more on our outreach to young persons and to push, abstinence. And if they cannot be abstinent, stick to one faithful partner and use a condom every time, consistently and correctly with every sexual experience. We did a survey, I think it was in 2009, and what that survey showed is that most persons, their first sexual experience was not consensual, and it was usually with someone who was older than they were, both male and female. Sometimes they feel that they can't say no because this is somebody that they respect, somebody that has, familial ties. In addition, there is a lack from my experience, there's a lack of information in the youth. They think they know a lot and they think they know it all. We all been there. But in terms of, how you can get this, some people feel that, okay, if I just put on the condom and I take it off before I come, then I won't get HIV, or, it's a lack of correct information. Another thing that can happen in terms of risky behavior is the use of alcohol, use of marijuana, use of other drugs. I understand that we've seen quite a bit of cocaine used as well in our territory. So the use of drugs that are going to alter your mind and your capability or capacity to think clearly, those drugs or substances can alter the way you react in certain situations. So that's another form of sexual risky behavior.
So as you heard,
okay, so free testing is always offered at
factors that continue to abound that contribute to persons putting themselves at risk for contracting HIV and other STIs. Now, for those who may be interested and those who should also consider being interested, here are a list of some of the locations where you can get free testing on the 29th for HIV and STIs.
Okay, so free testing is always offered at the Family Health Unit, that is the 2nd floor upstairs Betita Fret building in Road Town. But for the Regional Testing Day, we have some special events that we're going to be doing. On Friday the 23rd of June, between 4 and 8 p.m., we're going to be offering free testing at Postas in the West End community. Last year we went to the East End community and we did an outreach in Road Town, so this year we're extending to the West End community. On the 29th of June, which is a Thursday, we're going to be utilizing the Scotiabank building in the Valley Virgin Gorda, and testing will be conducted there by myself and members of the Rotaract group in Virgin Gorda, and testing will be conducted between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. On Friday, June 30th, I know it's a holiday for BVI, but nevertheless, we can still go out and get tested. So on Friday, June 30th, between 10 and 3 p.m. at the Fisherman's Jamboree on Beef Island, we're going to be doing an outreach there, and that's with the partners from BVI Health Services Authority. And on that same day, Friday, June 30th, from 8 p.m. onwards, we're going to be at the Backyard in Anegada. And we continue on Friday, July 7, 2017. BVI HSA will be having a job career fair at the Catholic Community Center on Virgin Gorda. And so we're going to be offering free testing at that event as well.
And so the message for Regional Testing Day on June 29 is that your sexual health is also of priority. So go out one and all and get tested for HIV and other STIs on June 29. Edwin, come.
Well, wouldn't it be ironic, Peter Gay, if the diminished stigma and the increase in pharmaceutical care resulted in sort of a carelessness on the part of persons? That would be ironic, wouldn't it?
That is so true.
Yeah, because now the sting really is going out of HIV to the point where, and maybe a mistake, to the point where it is being labeled a chronic disease and treatable like other chronic diseases. And so there's less funding for information dissemination, and of course, persons begin to feel comfortable that they would live a longer and fuller life, and so you get a little careless, and and the stigma is diminished. So I think we have to be careful that we don't get suckered into that belief in perhaps even a trap, in that we pay attention to our sexual health and be careful, about who we choose to have sex with, and to use preventative and prophylactic measures, because as you've said in the beginning, we in the region still rank second to sub-Saharan Africa, which in itself is an interesting fact. That of all the people in the world,
the Caribbean
people of African descent
yes,
are more predisposed to HIV and AIDS.
It boggles my mind too.
Yes, so we need to protect ourselves from that disease.
And to add to the point that you raised earlier, speaking about how persons are becoming complacent with the fact that HIV is treatable, being that they can live longer with that. The other STIs, a lot of persons are becoming complacent with them as well, because once you get them, you can go to the doctor and get medication. So it's like treating a common cold, and they're so common now that persons speak so easily. It's as if they're bragging, oh, I had syphilis, or I had gonorrhea, and my friend had it, and we're okay, we're still living, and we're healthy and strong. So it's becoming as if these diseases are like the common cold or the flu, and that's not healthy, that's not good for all of us.
And we also have to take into account the impact on our family members, apart from the cost to the society, but the impact that our family members go through, bearing that whole idea and knowing that knowledge that one of their family members have contracted HIV. So it's still a very serious disease, and we cannot afford to get complacent at this time.
Because they may be treatable, but they also have long-term effects that we know and do not know of.
That's
so you
right.
can't take it for granted.
It's a lot of social conditions, social circumstances surrounding the contraction of HIV.
Very much so. All right, the other thing on our agenda for the top news segment before we come out of it, Edu Enka, remember that this weekend the territory is also observing another very significant date in its history, that of Territory Day, which recognizes when the BVI became self-governing on July 1, 1956. Now, as a British territory, the Virgin Islands has had morbid as well as a rebellious history when it comes to slavery. And the JTV Channel 55 wants to shine the spotlight on this aspect in light of Territory Day, because the territory has come a far way. And so we want to inform the territory with a very educational documentary which is gonna shine a massive spotlight on one of the greatest human genocides in human history, that of slavery. This documentary is called The Old Corruption, Britain's Slave Trade, and it will be aired on Sunday at 11 a.m., the following Monday at 8 p.m., and Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. And here's a little sneak peek.
The slaves had won freedom, but precious little else. Not so their masters. Whilst the slaves were simply left to fend for themselves, their owners won a huge government windfall. 20 million then, about £1 billion today.
From my calculations, roughly £20,000 were paid in compensation to William Beckford and members of his family just for the slaves in Jamaica. Slave owners got £20 million in old money in 1830s for compensation for the for the loss of slaves. The slaves received absolutely nothing, jack, and they had to go and eke out a living after slavery.
In the end, the Emancipation Law was a very moderate law in the sense that it compensated not the slaves who had done so much unpaid labour for years and years and who had built up the wealth of Britain. The people who got the compensation were actually the former slave owners, and they got a huge sum of money in compensation.
One aspect of this atrocious story that involves chattel slavery involving Africans, and it's sad, and sad is a euphemism, that at the end of the day, despite their integrity, their humanity being ripped from their homeland, the slaves were the ones who walked away with nothing, and the plantation owners were the ones who walked away with their pockets fat.
Yeah, not even an apology. Well, there goes our British heritage, speaking of British heritage, and certainly we need to be mindful of the plantation era and the transatlantic slave trade. And I'm hoping that one day we will pay a closer attention, not so much to the physical aspects of slavery, slave trade and the plantation era, but more to the psychological aspects of it, because I know that we refuse to believe that the mind that we have is really not our mind. And when somebody tells you you're not in your right mind, you look at them as if they're crazy. But the fact of the matter is that as African descendants, we are not in our right mind, and our behavior attests to that fact. And so we need to pay attention to the trauma, the post-slavery traumatic trauma syndrome. So I hope that we get to examine that situation at some point down the road, because without us really understanding the residue and the residual effects, psychological trauma of the transatlantic slave trade and the plantation era, we will be unable to regain our rightful place on the world stage. So it's something for us to think about. But I'm really happy that that JTV has seen it fit to air this documentary, particularly on Territory Day, as we celebrate where we've come from and where we are presently. We need to start thinking about where we need to go. Good stuff there, Peter.
Thank you.
As usual.
Thank you. And just a brief note reminding our viewers that they can check out this and other stories from JTV Newsroom, as well as the channel on our YouTube, Facebook page, and our website, jtvlive.net.
Yes, we're going to take a break for word from our sponsors. We're going to come back with the president of the Olympic Committee, Mr. Ephraim Penn, and Ms. Sophia Fay. She's the coordinator of the BVI Commonwealth Games Association. Keep it locked right at the Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by CCT BVI, Life Unlimited, and the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the official Bank of Paradise.
Things like picking her up from school may seem small to you, but means the world to her. Real men love. He's always been there, from his first step to his jump shot, and he'll do his best to always be there. Real men support. A daddy isn't defined as a man who makes the child, but rather a man who extends his hand and time to raise his child. Real men care. The relationship between a dad and daughter is very simple. She will love her father and trust him completely, forever, because he sets the standard for any man to love her after. Real men spend time.
We can help prevent child abuse and neglect by strengthening families and communities. This message is brought to you by the Social Development Department.
Are you positive? You are negative. HIV free.
Are you positive? You are negative. Get tested and see.
Are you positive? You are negative. Are you okay?
Are you positive? You are negative. Get tested today.
Live Up, the Caribbean Media Alliance, in association with Scotiabank, PANCAP, and local ministries and departments of health, are for the 10th anniversary of Regional Testing Day, providing free HIV testing and counselling. Visit us online at ilivup.info for a schedule and full list of testing sites. Shouldn't you know your status? Live up for those you love, protect, and respect. Come on, get tested.
Are you positive? You are negative. Live up today.
Facebook, Instagram, you name it, I have it.
I use it for my internet, Skype, WhatsApp, YouTube, everything.
I can upload photos, share files, have meetings.
The data is ridiculously fast. And when they switch to this LTE, wow, the speed is incredible.
Unlimited, unlimited, unlimited.
I don't have to go, how much data do I have? It's there. The other networks, I can WhatsApp on this one.
I absolutely love it. You have to get it, BVI.
Thank you, CCT.
Thanks for calling Nagico Roadside Assistance. How may we assist you?
Feel comfortable knowing that if you have a problem on the road at any time, Nagico Roadside Assistance is at your service. Available 7 days a week, 365 days a year across the whole island of Tortola. Just dial 346-4357 and we will be there ready to assist getting you back on the road. Whether it's a dead battery, flat tyre, low gas, or even if you've locked yourself out of the vehicle, we'll be there to get you on the road again. For further information, call Nagico Insurances at 284-494-6433.
welcome my guest, Sophia Fay. She's the coordinator of the BVI Commonwealth Games Association. Welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you.
It's good to have you, and a good brother, Ephraim, long-time school buddy. Yeah, grew up in the same community. When you hear me talking about Miss Helen and Miss Flossie Yad and playing softball and eating butter bread and drinking baba soda, that's his yard, his you remember those days?
I remember those days.
That was a big time days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had a good time. Yes, Ephraim Penn, president of the BVI Olympic Committee. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yes, indeed. The Queen's baton is scheduled to come to the BVI, but before we talk about when it's coming and so on, I'd like for you to just tell us, how did that come about? What does it mean, the symbolism, how we got involved, and, you know.
Okay, well, basically, the Queen Baton Relay started in 1958. I'm going to age myself. Around that time, got it started.
Yeah.
And,
yes, we both were, yes.
And it signals the beginning of the Commonwealth Games, the lead up to the Commonwealth Games, which is held every 4 years. And the baton relay is a concept that the purpose behind it is the Queen puts her message that's going to be read at the opening ceremony of the Games in the baton. And that is taken throughout the Commonwealth in this baton, and persons carrying the baton is actually carrying the message of the Queen around the Commonwealth before it is even, she even speaks at the opening. And then there's a camera in the baton that captures the images of the different Commonwealth countries. And the key thing that happens there is it's not a relay as competition-wise, it's to create awareness of the Commonwealth Games, one, and it's to also to get the persons in the Commonwealth active. So when the baton is passing through, persons are encouraged to run with the baton, to come out and do physical activity, because there's a big recognition that obesity is a big problem in the Commonwealth. And it's one of the mechanisms, or one of the tools used to get everyone out. You don't have to be an athlete to be a part of this. We will encourage everyone in the community, bring out your friends, bring out the organizations. When the baton is passing through the community, come out and just run behind it and just do some physical activity. And it has worked. I mean, we have done some, and hopefully by doing that, the person say, well, oh, I can still walk, I can still do things, and they keep that trend going. Yeah. So it's also.
So this is the second, third, fourth, 10th, which?
Well, I think the first one was in 2006 here, and then we did 3 in a row, 2010, 2014, and now we're here.
So it doesn't happen every year?
No, every 4 years.
Every 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay, I got it now. Yeah, I'm beginning to get the feel of it.
Yeah, every 4 years.
So persons could run the breadth of the length of their district, following the baton as a form of exercise, and get in some physical activity.
Get some physical activity and get your picture taken by the baton, and once that happens, every day they upload the images that they've captured for that day, and it's sent throughout the Commonwealth. And it's a way of cultural exchange, because every country in the Commonwealth, you're going to see names, when you go to these games that you don't know existed, but they're part of the Commonwealth.
So it's a unification
tool exactly.
As well.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, cool. Now, what roles you guys play in facilitating the baton coming?
Well, I am the president of the Olympic Committee, and the Olympic Committee dovetail as the Commonwealth Games Association for the British Virgin Islands. So we are responsible, just like when we have the Olympics, to get the team there. We are responsible to do everything we can to get our athletes prepared and to get them to the games, and to hopefully this time, for the first time, win a medal.
Yeah, we're looking good.
Yeah.
What's your role, Sophia?
Right, So the last three events, the 2010, 2014, and actually also initially the 2006, the company Broadsword that I work with was taken on board to help coordinate the Queen's Baton Relay. So for the Gold Coast 2018 Queen's Baton Relay, we were brought on board again. We've worked a very good program that worked in the 2010 and the 2014. So we've implemented the same program that we had set out then, and we've tweaked it a bit, trying to bring in a little bit more sporting activities from the national federations and to add a little bit of spice to it, let's say.
So you coordinate all the activities?
Yes, so we've been working with key stakeholders to make sure that
persons that's helping you.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's
it needs to be recognized.
Yes, there's a planning committee. When we first met in November, and we met in the new year going forward. So we've had some key organizers, key stakeholders that have worked with us at the Office of the Premier, the Office of the Governor. We have the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports through its departments of Culture and Youth Affairs and Sports. We've had the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, Mr. Vern Wheatley coordinating in Virgin Gorda. We have the Jos van Dyke Preservation Society who's helping and set up for Jos van Dyke. And then we also have a resident Australian community. It's been led by Miss Bobby Fawcett, who's been coordinating them. We have the BVI Tourist Board, and then the GIS has also been part of the planning process. So those have been the key planners when we've been meeting monthly, and over this last few weeks we've been meeting weekly as we try and tighten up some, dotting I's and crossing T's.
Tying up the loose ends.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we've also worked, so in trying to get this all running smoothly, we've also got our national sport federations involved. Making sure that they will be ready to do some demo games at various stops, so that in previous years we've just had some representatives from the national sport federations as baton bearers or running behind the baton, but this year we're trying to get as many of them have mini demo games in various spots, so that the visiting international crew, which is the crew that accompanies the baton throughout the overseas territories, will have a chance to see what we have to offer in terms of sport.
So you're talking about other associations, softball association, basketball association, football, cricket, track and field. Okay, so they can all participate.
Yes.
They're all going to participate. And the schools, you have the schools involved as well.
Well, the schools break up on Friday, but we have been coordinating with the Ebenezer Thomas Primary School, who graciously have agreed to come back to school on Monday after school ends, and they will actually be making a presentation on one of the stops there.
Let's talk a little bit about when is the baton scheduled to arrive?
So it actually arrives in the territory on July 1st.
Okay.
That's when we will welcome it.
Yes,
Saturday.
This Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
So we will have an unofficial welcome of it. Sunday is a rest day for the international crew. And then Monday, 3rd of July is when we kick off.
Yeah, well, as Sophia mentioned, we start on the 3rd of July, Monday, at the Noah Lloyd Positive Action Park, where we have a ceremony. I think it starts at 9.
So you're not going to run it down from the airport
no.
on Saturday?
No.
Okay. So,
We're
so from Monday, everybody assemble at the Noah Lloyd Positive Action Park. Okay.
And we have an official welcome that day, and then the relay starts from there, goes to the Pier Park, and from the Pier Park comes back through the Breezeway at the Government Administration Complex. And I don't want to give out the names tonight, but we have some pretty good runners who are a little past their prime, but can still get around and do some activities.
So we're going to have to try to keep up with those old people?
Yeah.
It's a gentle jog walk.
Yeah. So maybe Sophia can go through the
So there's a whole list of activities
Yes.
planned.
Yeah, so it's predominantly, so we have the opening ceremony at the Noel Lloyd Positive Action Movement at 9 o'clock. Everyone is welcome to attend. Again, knowing it's the school holidays, we're still encouraging parents to bring their children. If there are any summer camps going on where it's possible within the Road Town vicinity, please bring the children. We have shelter, we have water, and soft drinks and shade just to make sure everyone's comfortable. It's not a long ceremony, but it's an occasion when you will see the baton entered, and that's when it's first handed over to the Premier of the Virgin Islands, and it will be in our caretaking, as it were, for the duration of
the Premier is going to be running?
We have the Premier slated for a short job.
Yeah. A short job. Okay.
Yeah. So that's really the official introduction and the handover of the baton to the territory. So that it's essentially, whilst it is obviously within the safekeeping of the international crew, it's essentially in the BVI for those 2 days under our keeping, as it were. So that's the official welcome. And we then start the relays from there. Now, so we talk about jog or run. It's actually a walk jog. So it's meant for all ages, all abilities. So we really don't want people to be put off thinking they have to be able to.
So people like me could participate.
We encourage people like you to participate. People like us who need the exercise.
Yeah, but it's not a taxing, and they're short distances. So the relay takes off. We have the route planned, and they're very short distances between each handover spot.
So can you tell us where we're going?
Yeah, so through Road Town, after the opening ceremony, we then take it through Road Town in the morning, which, as Ephraim mentioned, will go to Tortola Pier Park, the Breezeway, the traffic lights at Waterfront Drive, onto the QE2 Park. From there, it gets taken across to the Old Government House Museum. We'll then make a stop at the Adina Donovan Home for the Elderly and have a few moments there to share the baton with the residents there. From there, we'll go to the Sir Oliver George's Plaza.
Are you going to be passing from at each stop?
Yes.
Each point you stop, somebody else will take it from there?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so a member of the community.
So you go into the Adina Donovan Home, which is nice for the elderly.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have an exchange with them, and they can see it and learn a little bit about it.
And from there?
To Sir Oliver George's Plaza, and from there to Chalwell Street. From Chalwell Street, we hand over to, for a short leg, to the Midtown Restaurant. Midtown Restaurant, we go to HM Prison Museum. And from the Prison Museum, we go to the Sunday Morning Well, and then Botanic Gardens, Sugar Works. And from
so you're doing all the heritage sites, the
exactly,
sites.
Exactly, because
the baton will be taking pictures as it goes, so we want to highlight these key sites in the town.
So it's, there's a photographer that travels with the international crew. So on a daily basis, they'll be uploading images of each of the territories that they've been to. So one of the purposes or opportunities for us is to showcase the cultural heritage and the natural beauty in our hospitality here.
So that's why it's important for us to show. To come out so that and participate, because we're going to be seen internationally.
Exactly, yes. And it is a way, because
it's good promotion as well for the territory.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's an opportunity for us to showcase, because we're out there globally, and they've done a good job trying to get all the Commonwealth territories, for sure, excited about this. So there are people who are tuning in, whether they're not actually part of the Commonwealth territory. It's not athletes. This is for everyone. It truly is for everyone. So
well, of course, it's the Queen of England, and everybody's in this hub, but it's in her name, yes. And everyone's going to want to see what has happened to the baton all around the world. Yeah. So everybody's going to be checking and watching for it. Yeah. Probably be a big news stories as well.
Yes, yeah. So it's
a big deal.
It is. And it will end at the A.O. Shirley Recreation Ground, that Monday morning stint. And there we will have...
Honorable Myron Walwyn doing the honors around the track with the baton, with the special needs kids and different persons in the community.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And then... So from then we will drive, because it's a bit of a way, we drive the baton to the Ebenezer Thomas Primary School, where, as I mentioned earlier, the students will, some of the students will be there to make a presentation to the international travel crew. And after that, they'll take a short jog to Manuel Reef. And from there, the baton will get handed over onto one of the Tortola sloops, again, another tradition,
yes,
a cultural item. There it actually will be handed over to the governor, who's the baton bearer on that one. And it will be followed by a flotilla of youth sailors from the Royal BVI Yacht Club and from CATS in the sea. I believe we've also got HM Customs who will be part of the flotilla, and we'll have some media on board there. And we'll follow that baton to Naniki. There it will hand over to some of the national federations, volleyball, swimming, confirming we have rugby there as well. And we will have a 2-hour lunch stop there. I think Naniki is doing a lunch special, so people could come and have lunch. Hang out and just watch the baton and interact there in a relaxed fashion.
Do you get to touch it?
Yes. You can, absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to be wearing the baton.
Take a picture with it?
Yes, yeah, all of that. And you're very much encouraged, actually, if you can get a snap on your phone.
The selfie with the baton.
Yeah, and they ask if you use it for social media that you use the call hashtag GC2018QBR.
Say that again.
Hashtag GC2018QBR.
Okay.
So that's Gold Coast 2018 Queen's Baton Relay. So the initials.
Why is it called Gold Coast 2018?
That's where the Commonwealth Games are going to be held this year. I mean, in 2018 in Australia.
In Australia, okay. So that's what that. Okay,
yeah.
So that's what that's called. Okay, cool. Okay. So Naniki, you hang out, you get selfies, you post it, you drink, eat, relax, cool out, and then where you go from there?
We go to
King Garden Bay.
Okay, cool.
And we do a short.
Take a baton for a swim?
Yes. Not literally. I mean, we've just showcased the water with our sailing capital of the world.
Yes.
And now we're going to one of our best beaches to show the world.
That's right.
Our #1 beach. Okay. So we'll do a tour of King Garden Bay, do a short baton relay there, and of course after King Garden Bay where best we can go in Josh Van Dyke by Foxy's. So we go to Josh Van Dyke. Okay. We showcase Josh Van Dyke for a short trip, and then we finish the evening coming back from Josh Van Dyke.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're gonna have some problems with the whole King Garden Bay thing as being the best beach, because you know Foxy gonna tell you White Bay is the best beach. They're gonna tell you Long Bay. West End is the best beach.
Long Bay Beef Island. Well, I don't want to.
We're not going to give up that #1 spot so easy.
I know.
You know, so you got to be careful. Yeah. But going to Josh Van Dyke, that should be a nice outing as well. Yeah. And are you going to have transportation for persons who want to follow the baton to Josh Van Dyke and have a day of it in Josh Van Dyke? How long are you going to stay there?
We're not staying long. So
you're not staying there, so you can just go in there, a brief thing, and you're coming right back.
So it's an opportunity really to take the baton to Josh Van Dyke and not only showcase Josh Van Dyke to the audience globally, but also for the residents of Josh Van Dyke to have a chance to interact with the baton right there on their home ground.
And then where are you going from Josh Van Dyke?
We return back because that would have been a long day. That would be about 5 in the evening.
You're not going to Virgin Gala?
No. We certainly are.
Oh,
we couldn't lose the bats.
You were scared because Virgin Gala will immediately leave the union.
We have Virgin Gala very well taken care of.
Okay.
You could go ahead.
Virgin Gala scare us, you know.
I know.
They went into secede any minute.
That would be a golden opportunity.
Yeah, no, Virgin Gala, no worries. We're coming your way. And they've been perfect hosts in the previous occasions that we've taken the baton there. So, in fact, we'll be there bright and early. We're leaving at 7:30 in the morning with Village Game. This is all courtesy with our VIPF launch and the HM Customs boats. They will take the contingent, the party, across to Virgin Gorda, and there's going to be a welcome reception at the Walters Recreation Park in Spanish Town. Again, all the public is welcome to attend that ceremony. It will be a very brief welcome ceremony because we'll have had the official opening at Noel Lloyd Park. So this is on Tuesday, July 4th, 8:30 a.m. at Walters Recreation Park in Spanish Town. And it'll be an opportunity for some of the residents there to present themselves.
To interact with the baton.
And yes, and we will then take it on a relay route through the valley to the baths. The baton's also going to make a stop at the Brigada Flax Education Centre, where I think, yes, again, the students have agreed to return despite school breaking up, and there they'll make a presentation. In 2010, when we had the Delhi 2010 baton come through, that was such a fantastic reception that we got from the students there. We had a mascot, sort of a life-size mascot with us, and it was wonderful. We spent a lot longer there than we had originally scheduled, but it was fabulous. So.
And what's your mascot this year?
So for this one, it's the Borobi, which is actually...
That's his name?
The Borobi is the name of the mascot, and it is actually based on a koala bear that learns to surf. And it's got markings on its paws, which were indicative of specific to territories in Australia. And this is the one that we keep as part of the collection at the BVI Commonwealth Games Association, BVI Olympic Committee, because each Games has its own mascot. But we do have a competition on our Facebook page, daily question, and we've got some of these to give away. So the competition runs until Friday. Just answer the question, random pick.
What's his name again?
Borobi.
Borobi. You get a Borobi.
So you get a chance to win a Borobi, your own Borobi. So the competition ends on Friday.
What's the Facebook page?
It's BVI Olympic Committee.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the committee's Facebook page.
Yeah. So the BVI Olympic Committee Facebook page. Competition, chance to win your own Borobi.
And when we leave Virgin Gorda?
So from Virgin Gorda, we'll also take some time there. We got some great iconic photos in 2014, took them through the caves, down the baths, and there were some stops at the copper mine. So it's an opportunity again for the photographer to capture the baton in iconic places in Virgin Gorda. We do a tour of the North Sound. We've actually also got a courtesy See It Clear tour, courtesy of Gumption. And we'll have a stop at Necker Island, and we'll be taking some children from the Robinson O'Neill Memorial School there to run with the baton on Necker Island. And after that, we return to Trellis Bay. We'll be there at 4:30 p.m. And the baton will then be cycled across to the bridge. And from there, we start our route through East End Long Look, and I'll hand over to the maestro.
East End Long Look man, huh? Yeah. The baton will tour East End Long Look. We'll start off with from the bridge. We'll go to Chapel Hill, and I have 2 runners confirmed for Chapel Hill to Red Bay, Paramtown. That's Harold and Neville Smith.
Oh, okay.
Will be running up the track coming down.
So that's father and son.
Father and son.
Yeah.
And really, they are symbolic of that area in sports.
In sports, yes.
Yes. Harold was a great cricketer, and of course, everybody knows Neville Chief Smith.
Great softball pitcher.
Great softball pitcher.
Yes.
So we're gonna have running through as part of that too. Dr. Pickering is going to be involved, and Dion Crabb. So we're going to have Dr. Quincy Lexham. So I'm not going to name all the spots, but we do have a good cross section of the community
participating.
And I encourage you to join us in the leg from Paramtown to the Major Baby.
The Major Baby.
Yeah, so like how we did going to school.
That's our school route. Yes.
Yeah, so we'll do our school route together.
Yes.
So it's going to be a great day, and it's going to end at the Greenland Field with Honorable Marlon Penn doing a lap there, going into the field. We're going to visit the new football pitch that's been installed. And
so it's going to be held on the pitch?
No, we're going to go on the field itself.
Yeah,
okay. I think they're going to do an exhibition on the pitch.
Okay.
But then we'll end it at the field. And we have, I think, about 4 sports are going to do exhibitions there. BVI basketball, archery, rugby to be confirmed, and softball.
Okay. All right. And when does it leave?
Well, after that, that's actually the end of the relay route, but the grand finale is actually at the Central Admin Complex. So we will drive the baton back to the Central Admin Complex, where we'll have the closing ceremony and the cultural presentation. And the fun thing about that, and actually also at the opening ceremony, which people might not realize that with the Australian contingent here, we're going to have a cross-section of performances by cultural Virgin Islands performances, including the heritage dancers and the elite sky dancers, as well as some other participants in the cultural program. Yes, and then the Australian contingent will also be participating in that. And they have, I think what would be interesting for us here who have never heard it live is the didgeridoo.
The what?
The didgeridoo.
What is that?
It is I think it's a tubular pipe, and it's a tribal, I think an Aboriginal tribal.
And then the pipe we just to the base with, not the base, the blow pipe and in a fungi bed.
Probably, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
It sounds like that. Okay. Yeah. Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. And actually, another fun element of the closing, and this is more for our international traveling crew, is that we're going to have a coal pot tasting for them. So we have 3 coal pot cookers, cooks who are going to be cooking on the coal pots.
What are you cooking? What are they going to be cooking?
The menu is to be confirmed and announced, but this will be the meal for the international traveling crew. So we've got the Department of Culture, Miss Anne Leonard, who's communicating with the cookers there to come up with, determine what they will be preparing. But it will be a rounded meal essentially for them to try what is traditional and cultural. And it, as Mr. Penn had mentioned at some point in our conversations on this, there will be a lot of youngsters who may not have seen a coal pot in action. So this would be...
There's a good opportunity.
Yes, good opportunity to see one.
And then after that, but the next day it goes on...
It leaves early, yes, very early, bright and early, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. It flies off to Jamaica. So it's actually coming from Anguilla.
So you got a full couple of days with a pack of activity.
Yeah. So and on that closing, it is a great opportunity. We've got the local food and beverages will be on sale, and it's 6 o'clock in the evening, the end of a work day, and a great opportunity for families and everyone to come, have a chance to look at the baton, have their photos taken with it, relax, enjoy some cultural presentations, music, food, and so on.
Oh, great. Now you got some sponsors that you need to mention.
Yes, I can. As I said, we couldn't do this alone, and the community pitched in and helped in different areas, and we have our key, the key sponsors that we have at the BVI Bank Association, which include Banco Popular, CIBC, First Caribbean, First Bank, National Bank of the Virgin Islands, and BP Bank. We have Premier Dental, who's always been a great sponsor of sports events in the territory. Meridian Construction, Harneys, BVI Painters, Rotan Wholesale, Eureka, and Bougainvillea Clinic. And thanks also to JTV for the promotion you're doing, like tonight. It's priceless.
I appreciate that. A lot of times people don't mention JTV. Yes. So that's great. We follow at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm glad you were able to mention the sponsors, and you got the whole community is really behind it. And before we go, one more time, I'd like to, for you to say, come down to the Noel Lloyd Positive Action Movement Park on what day?
July 3rd, Monday, July 3rd at 9 o'clock. It's a brief portion of your day. And if you can join in a leg when it comes through your community, through Road Town Cane Garden Bay, Seacows Bay, Nanny Key, and obviously...
It's a good opportunity to showcase the
Absolutely.
BVI.
The East End.
The East End, the whole
Virgin Gorda.
The whole BVI, just like the whole,
everything
the
is
whole
gonna be
BVI, all our
on
heritage
display.
sites, the people, the hospitality. It's a great promotion opportunity, along with sharing with the rest of the region and the world.
Yes.
The Commonwealth United.
Yes, and just one sponsor, one promotion you mentioned, ZBVI has also played a key role in helping us promote the event.
Absolutely. So we covered everything?
Yep.
Oh,
So bring your smile, your jogging shoes,
and participate.
the whole family, all ages, all abilities.
Sophia Ephraim, thank you very much for being my guest on Spotlight. It was a real pleasure, really interesting. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you
Thanks for
very much.
having us.
Good. Spotlight, of course, is seen every Tuesday on JTV live at 8 p.m., channel 55, and rebroadcast Sundays at 2:30. You can watch Spotlight on demand at jtvlive.net, like our Facebook page, facebook.com/SpotlightBVI. Catch up with the spotlights you miss. You can see the parts that you missed tonight, as well as all the spotlights. You can make suggestions on guests or topics that you might want to have on Spotlight. I'm Adrianka, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
Good.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and CTL Home Center, the best products for the lowest prices, period.